They're an interesting team to watch. I think part of that is they give it their all, they go and they try to play attacking football. It doesn't necessarily pay off, but we'll see. They've got difficult running. Obviously, they've got the FL Cup this weekend against Man City, so they might get some silverware in there. To be honest, that will be on the back of their mind. They come back, they play Leicester, they play Chelsea, Villa, Wolves, Liverpool, United. Tough ones there. I think it will all come down to, well, they play West Ham at the last game of the season.
Yeah, at the stadium.
And I kind of hope it's done when they're safe.
Here's the thing, it's not necessarily whether they win, it's whether they can score goals, because we're looking for whether the players can bring us points to our team. Like, does Aston Villa have the firepower?
I mean, I would argue with only 4 shots on, in the whole game and 1 on target against Southampton. That's a pretty poor effort.
And Ricky Pellegrini said before, like, Grealish is really the only sort of...
I mean, he's fantastic, right? He's been one of the top players in the Premier League this season. I think not many people will question that. And we all see him. If Aston Villa go down, again, they have been really good to watch, to be fair, this season. But if they do go down, I think
he's
top
gone.
Clubs will... Yeah, he's gone. And top clubs will be off.
The next 2 above that, you've got Bournemouth and Brighton. And Pellers, you said earlier that Bournemouth were quite unlucky against Burnley.
Bournemouth were really unlucky, to be honest.
They had 12 shots against Burnley.
They had 12 shots. Callum Wilson looked good. Their whole attacking force looked really good. And again, VAR was very cruel to them at the weekend. Yeah. And the game definitely would have gone another way. If anything, I think Bournemouth would have won the game.
They've had a lot of injuries, like mid-season, so
correct.
I think they're starting to come back in the
There's
team.
There's also the question about Joshua King. He had a lot of talk about going to Man United, whether that kind of rocked the boat a little bit in terms of, because he was looking like one of their best strikers this season.
They've had some good results recently. 2 big games that they had, they beat Villa, good, and then they also, they managed to beat Brighton as well, obviously not going so well against Norwich and Watford though. So up and down for them. I actually would say they've gone down. Yeah, they've completely fallen out of it. You see less of them, you hear less of them, there's less goals being scored. They've also got a difficult running. I think all the teams have a difficult running.
Right. I mean, it's an interesting one, but I mean, I would actually kind of pick up on Brighton, because even though Brighton, let's say for example, in their last 5 games, they've drawn 4 and lost 1, which was actually against a relegation candidate, Bournemouth.
Yeah.
You look at their fixtures, to be honest, apart from, let's say, Crystal Palace and Wolves, which actually, to be honest, they're probably not easy games. Then they're playing Arsenal, Leicester, Man United, before they have maybe a bit of respite against Norwich to then face Liverpool and Man City.
That's tough.
That's a really tough run in. I don't know if it's the toughest out of all the teams that we've spoken about, but that doesn't bode well. And to be honest, actually, when you think about the next 2 games against Crystal Palace and Wolves, these are teams that actually could take it to them and beat them. In which case, actually, you know what?
Good point. I just got rid of Ryan, mate. Thanks for that.
Yeah, it's all good.
No clean sheet in 7 for
exactly.
Brighton.
Oh, wow.
And if you wanted to kind of have a punt, maybe on a Brighton and Hove Albion player, Morpay, to be honest, I think kind of he's there.
He's there. Dunk gets on the score sheet.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, and I think kind of Morpay, to be honest, actually is weird, because their goalkeeper, I think, is the top point scorer. Given obviously the amount of saves that he has to make, unfortunately. But he's worth a punt. He does return some game weeks, so he might step it up. Well, has to really. So he could be in with a good shout. But I see them potentially being in trouble.
Okay, gents. So can we go back to Wilson and a line around this table on 2 teams out of these bottom 7 at the moment, from 14th to 20th, that we think will pull away?
I think it's not just about who's going to pull away. I think you have to be strategic about this. For me, there's not 2 teams where I would pick players and keep them in my team till the end of the season. It's pick and choosing, week in, week out. Maybe you have some on the bench and you actually just bring them in for
depending who they're playing. That
week,
exactly.
There's no one looking at this that I would solve.
Okay, so you want to get their playmakers in cheap, keep them on the bench.
I
don't be scared to supplement. Yes.
Yeah. Someone who stood out for me when he came on, Jared Bowen, we spoke about him. New signing for West Ham. He looks like a bright spark as an attacking, midfield option. If you're looking for someone out of those bottom teams, he could be someone who's going to go and get on the score sheet.
Don't even look past, to be honest. I mean, we've spoken about him already. Don't even look past Snodgrass, right? Set piece taker.
He's involved.
Yeah, exactly. Gets involved, especially in the build-up play.
Yeah.
Good shot, good cross on him. He's returned a decent amount, I guess, of points midfield wise. price-wise is 5.2 million. Okay, so
Trust the Scots.
Not the cheapest. Yeah,
he works hard. He works hard every game.
He does.
And, he's getting on the lad now, but he's proven himself.
But he's worth a punt, right? I mean, he's an experienced player as well. So I mean, those experienced players sometimes come to the fore when you're in relegation.
Callum Wilson, we've all forgotten about him. I know we're saying Bournemouth are going to struggle.
I think we've forgotten about him for good reason, though, haven't we?
This is about game week 5, yeah.
But the last few seasons, he's still, you can't always write a good striker off, right? They could go on a run. We're talking about, little surprises here. I feel like he could be. He was unlucky.
He's got 7 goals for the season, 2 in the last 4. Maybe not a bad shout. I think that's your answer, though. I think we have got an answer there. Wilson, basically what we're saying is we don't see any of these teams going on a run. We see that you're going to have to just pick and choose the players. How's that, mate? Depending on who they're playing against.
So, Callum Wilson. Is that the best we came up with?
I like it. I might choose Wilson. I like your ideas. I appreciate it. I want to improve my team. I am in the top 30, so want to become
30.
Yes.
What in the world?
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Who's your
bow down to you,
sir. NYC British
you mean in Kenya,
team
though?
member?
It's very hard. You're all perfect. You're all number 1 to me.
Yes, I like that answer.
Oh, look at that. But if you had to choose.
I like the guy NVD.
Yeah.
You do.
He did do well this week.
I think he's been in the bathroom the last 5 minutes.
I had a dodgy boot, yes.
Cool, thanks Wilson. But interesting question.
Good question.
Thanks so much, Wilson. Appreciate you spending your credit, giving us a call. Thank you ever so much, mate. Have a good one.
So just a reminder to everyone, we've only got 8 games this week. The Villa v Sheffield United and the Man City Arsenal games are still to be rescheduled. There's no date set for those, but that will lead to double game weeks for all of those 4 teams. That's obviously because of the FPL Cup, whatever it's called, FA Cup, that's happening this weekend. But we've got some tasty fixtures.
They are tasty. I still can't get over our non-answer to answer Wilson's question. I feel like we gave him nothing. Anyhow, so we've got. Where do you want to start, Sean? Which one's tasty?
Well, let's just start Friday night first of all.
Yeah, kick off. That's what always catches us out as well. Friday night.
Yeah, make sure you get your team in before then, especially if you're thinking this is a good time to use your free hit or your wild card.
2:30 deadline or something if you're in the
Is
US.
Vardy going to score finally?
Yes.
He has to, right?
Yes.
He might score once.
Yes.
We talked about how weak Norwich are or have been recently.
It's been so long.
Vardy has to score,
He
right?
will.
How long has it been?
He will.
6 weeks?
He will.
6, 7 weeks?
They've never had high scoring games between these two. 1-0, 1-0 last time I think.
It was 1-1 in
1-1.
December, and then both teams on poor form. Is it a game you stay away from, or do you think there's value in Leicester?
No, I think there's value in Leicester. I mean, you're right. He's not scored in 10 game weeks, right? Essentially,
Some of them he was injured, right?
He's injured.
Has it been 10?
Injured, rested, or he got an assist in game week 22.
For so long.
But I think this is where Vardy's gonna come back. I do back him for a goal or 2.
I'm going to say 2-0 to Leicester.
Yeah.
Vardy and let's just say Madison as well.
One goal for Vardy.
Madison's played well the last game actually against Man City. I thought he had a good game.
And Leicester did make some chances against City. They had 10 shots on only 3 on target. Vardy had chances.
Yeah,
he should have scored.
He's left foot, he sliced it, didn't he?
Next game is early on the Saturday. We have Brighton versus Crystal Palace. Is this a classic?
I think this might be where the fight back starts. Yeah, I mean, Crystal Palace have looked decent.
They've looked okay without doing anything special, haven't they?
Well, to be honest, actually, if you compare the two teams, Crystal Palace have lost 3 out of their last 5, and actually Brighton have done better. I mean, they've drawn 4 out of their last 5. So actually, you know what? I'm back in the home team. Yeah, and I'm backing Morpay to get on the score sheet.
Yeah.
So
what's the score in this one?
I think it'll be a 1-0.
1-0. We're going for the 1-0s today.
Yeah.
I actually got to just quickly say I think Leicester are going to smash Norwich. I think it's going to be 3 or 4-0. You've got 1-0 there.
You think Vardy will get?
Norwich just can't defend, mate. They're just 51 goals they've let in. Definitely not.
But what about Brighton Crystal Palace?
Well, NVD's gone 1-0 there. I think it's not a bad shout. They're both very defensive, so I think that's a decent shout. The fact that Brighton haven't kept a clean sheet for 7 worries me, and I have got their keeper, so I don't see them getting a clean sheet. Go 1-0. NVD's called that. Bournemouth Chelsea. What do you think, fellas?
I think Bournemouth are going to win this game. I know that it sounds ridiculous
I actually
because of their
thinking
form.
that, yeah.
Chelsea just lost in the Champions League quite heavily tonight as well.
Cool.
3-0
3-0.
to
Wow.
Alright,
Bayern
Bayern
Munich.
Munich, one of the best teams in Europe, right? But
that takes your toll, both
it takes its
mentally
toll.
and
They
physically, right?
they had a big game against Spurs last weekend as well. Chelsea are away. They haven't really. They did well against Spurs, right? But before that, we were all talking about how Chelsea were falling apart.
But then even against Spurs, you see like Giroud scored and Alonso scored.
Yeah,
they ain't not popping up with
Fantastic
goals weekly. They're both good goals, but they're not popping up all the time. They're sort of one-off finishes, I think.
Yeah, I just have a feeling that Bournemouth
I could
have got
see that
more to offer than what they're showing. They have actually last year at home, Bournemouth, they beat Chelsea 4-0.
They did. They did well.
And that's not the reason why I'm saying. I only just looked at that now. That's not the reason why I'm saying. I just think, just based on that game last week, I think Bournemouth are going to be really angry. They've got points to prove. They've got a lot of motivation. They're obviously fighting relegation. I hope I'm wrong. We need Bournemouth to lose this by a lot.
I think Chelsea are going to win though. For the similar sort of reasons. Chelsea. I don't know how Chelsea have managed to stay fourth.
Yeah.
Considering their run, they'll need to want to get a good result.
Chelsea had a great start to the season, and now they've dipped off.
They have,
apart from the
but they're still fourth. They're like, I'm not,
which is amazing.
Yeah, their run of form at the moment has been not great, but I think they'll just capitalise on Bournemouth. I think it's going to be 2-0 to Chelsea.
2-0 Chelsea.
Even though I'm a Bournemouth boy.
I think 2-1 to Bournemouth.
I do see Bournemouth beating Chelsea just because that's what I want to happen. I just feel Chelsea haven't got a goal scorer at the moment, and they're struggling to get someone that's consistently putting the ball in the net, and that is going to work against them. Newcastle v Burnley. NVD, you've been telling us how much you're looking forward to this one.
Yeah, to be honest, I back Burnley. I think they've had some good results. I mean, if you think about it, right, actually they're probably one of the form teams in the Premiership at the moment. They've won four out of their last 5. And 2 of those, to be honest, have been away against Southampton and your beloved Manchester United. And
they're doing really well. Yeah.
They're doing really well. I mean, they've got a solid keeper in Pope. He's made the most saves or something like that in the Premiership. And on form, you've got Vidra, ex Derby County, good lad. He's scored 2 in 2. So they're on the rise. He's
3 clean sheets in 4 as well. They are strong in defence.
So I mean, you look at the reverse fixture last season, and Newcastle won this, but I think that was a team under a different manager. I see them going and getting a result. It may be fairly close, but I'm probably going to go. I think they will concede Burnley with Newcastle being at home, but I'm going 2-1.
I think that's a good shout, and the fact that 4 of the last 5 for Burnley they won. They're unbeaten in 5, as you mentioned. Newcastle last 4, they've lost 2 of them. But when we look at that kind of stat, doesn't it just scream out that this has got to change at some point?
Yeah, it's the Premier League, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's the way it goes. It never really follows.
This is why it's so difficult to predict it, but either way, they're going to be goals. I would have said in this.
So they beat Man U and Leicester. The last 5 games.
Who, Newcastle?
Burnley,
yeah.
I fancy Newcastle for this one, to be honest with you. I think Newcastle...
It's got to change at some point, isn't it?
Yeah, just at home, I think Newcastle at St James's Park, they're a different kettle of fish. Alright, they've not done terribly well, but they've had a better season than most people thought. I think at the start of the season, everyone thought Newcastle were relegation odds on. But I think Newcastle are going to win this game.
People have been saying that Liverpool's going to change, at some point, but they just keep going on and on.
Long may it continue.
They're in a league of their own. They really are in a league of their own. Literally, they might win the league. 7 games to play, is it, at the moment?
Got 4 games and we'll secure it, I think. Yeah. So it was 5 games and then we, managed the result against West Ham. So 4 games and that's it.
Fantastic.
Oh, bore off. No one wants to hear it, man.
I'm going to call you every day and tell you.
You still haven't stopped ringing me since the Champions League, mate.
The one in 2005.
Okay, Newcastle. Who's going to score for them, Pellers? You said that you think they'll win.
I think St. Maximum looks a good player for Newcastle.
Great name.
I think he's one of the fastest players in the Premier League.
he is on the one to watch.
Yeah, he's a youngster and he's kind of come on the scene this season at Newcastle. I think he's going to get on the score sheet this week.
There you go, mate.
I think it's going to be a good. I think it'll be a clean sheet for Newcastle as well. I think it'll be 2-0.
There you go.
It's like Fastino